Hello, everybody. I'm Henry Lee. I just realized that the other phone that I supposed to set up for YouTube is out of battery, so today I can only broadcast on Facebook. Let me make sure you can see my table. So let me see. Hand is here. We move this a little bit up. Okay. I'm going to paint some early magnolia flowers that I just see in my neighborhood. Last night, when we walked our dog Cappy, I saw this in the neighborhood. I took a picture. You can see Let me see if I turn this lights off. You can see better. Okay, this is the pictures I took yesterday. Let me see. And this morning is a very sunny day, so I took another walk, and I took additional pictures because this is in somebody else's garden. I cannot really find the best spot. I can only stay on the driveway and take these pictures just for some inspiration. I'm going to use the elements in these pictures to paint. This is a nice shot with the backlit lights, if you can see. A little sculpture, and this is a very nice detail, a backlit flower. That's the kind of light effect I try to achieve. So we have a very different climate, very lucky. I think why most of the world Earth are still in winter with a snowstorm. In my hometown Nanjing, it's frozen cold, and we are here enjoy our warm sunshine and flowers. So I hope this will bring you good mood. When we paint, we don't paint the reality. We paint the spring when we're in the winter, so we look forward to spring. I hope you will follow me to enjoy the happiness of spring, early spring. Okay. The magnolia flower has different colors. This one early is the violet, or what do you call this? Purple magnolia. In Chinese, we have a different name for them. This is called Sumi-e. The other is Yulan, the jade orchid. But they all share a common name known as, in Chinese, Mubi, means the wooden brush. So we have a brush like this. We call it Magnolia. This is a used one, but when it's new, the brush head is white like the Magnolia bud, and the handle, it looks like the branch of Magnolia. So I'm going to use this brush to start with. Okay. The paper I'm using are the thick rice paper. One is triple Xuan, triple weight, or triple, very heavy, triple ply. Literally, they stuck 3 layers of single weight rice paper together. So in a whole bulk, instead of getting 100 sheets, you will get 33 sheets only when they are shipped from the manufacturer. We have another thinner one. It's called double Xuan. It's also a thick paper rice paper, but it's double layer or double weight. So they stuck 2 layers of single Xuan together. Both of them are N-sized, which means absorbent, but because of the thickness, they tend to smear less than single Xuan. So it's better to for students because they give them more time. When you paint on very thin rice paper, you have to paint very fast because otherwise you will blur or smear. But on single Xuan, on double or triple Xuan, we can go slower. However, it will take a lot of moisture, so you have to use a soft brush like this. It can hold a lot of moisture. The other things I'm going to use is, of course, ink, and I may also use watercolor, but just in case, I try to stay with Chinese brush because in my class they complained recently saying you're doing only Western watercolor. Don't forget the otherworldly Chinese brush painting. That's a good word, otherworldly, because in Chinese brush painting we tend to sublime, to paint the sublime, not the reality, but to transcend the reality. In watercolor, we tend to paint scenery instead of Chinese landscape, imaginary world, a spiritual world. Even in flowers, in Western watercolor, we'll paint the still lifes, just like a flower arrangement, instead of live flowers in their own different stage of life in the garden or on the tree. So I will try to combine the two actually. If I do watercolor, I still keep the environment, not like a still life. So we'll paint it, wind, light, air, qi, the vitality. Okay, let's start with the double Xuan. I think that's my favorite. I will wet the brush with water first, okay? Then I get some light ink. When we paint a large flower like this, we will do the flower first, although you need to have some kind of composition. I will talk about that later. But in the beginning, you can just start with one flower, then we figure out where the branch come from. So to see the tone, we can use a white palette and just touch a little bit of ink. This is a Japanese blue ink. You can get from Blue Heron Arts, or you have to buy from Japan. We imported, we have to pay a lot of shipping for, like a express mail to get it. So it's very expensive, but you can dilute it up to 40 times, at least 8 times. So this is used for light ink. Calligraphy can also use for painting. It's a blue shade. It has blue tint in it. It's not really blue. It's called blue ink. So this little bottle can last a long time. You can see I just used tiny little bit to start with. Normally, when we load the brush, we load it from light to dark, on the tip. We use like the front portion, the tip and the up to like 2/3. Today we're going to do a reverse loading or gradation. So I will load the ink mostly in the bottom of the brush, Okay, so that's very different. Okay, so I load this brush mostly in the heel. Let me just get some more. I can use another brush. This is a super wash brush. It's in the 5 basic brush set. If you're familiar with my website, Blue Heron Arts. See a little bit ink. This is too dark. Let's use this section. So we can have different grays here. Just another thing is that you can use some special liquid like glue, peach sap glue to control the smear. I may use some white ink. I think that's something new. I haven't tried. We just got last year. This is a white ink. It's like the size, the mixture of. I assume it's alum and gelatin, but it doesn't say. It's a trade secret, I think. So it's called transparent white ink. What it does is that you can use it to make the paper partially sized. So on the same paper, some part with the white transparent ink become sized or non-absorbent, and you can also mix it with ink. So you will create a water resist when the stroke gets dry, and when you wash the background, it will become like a masking effect, masking liquid, you may say. Let's see how that works. So what I can do is I can use this in terms to replace the plain water. So this is what I do. I make room in the front of the brush. So this is a very different technique. I want you to see closely. So I squeeze out some ink from the front. Okay, now the brush tip is thirsty, and I just put in white ink, transparent white ink. You won't see it, but it's there. And I do a paddle, just like that. So this will become a water resist when it's dry, right? It's a little too. You see the paper smear. Let me give you a close look. So this is the stroke I got. Maybe we can do compare triple Xuan. So double Xuan runs really fast, still, just like a single Xuan. I hope this will be different. Triple Xuan, very heavy, the heaviest Xuan. It's like a triple layers of single, right? So let me do that again. I used the brush heel. Remember, this is to shape the stroke. The front become more inky because the ink gets to the bottom. So if I squeeze a little bit more, I think this is more controllable. You can go slower, like that. I keep adding white ink to the front. The small petals on the side. Okay. This is a full bloom. And let me finish the first one I did. This is the double Xuan. So now my brush gets drier. So I can do this with less speed, slower. See, that's okay. Sometimes I roll the brush. Okay, this is the triple Xuan, and this is the double Xuan. Okay. Now I will do a little bud. Use the same brush. You can, because the bud is darker, so you can use darker gray just on the tip. So this is you don't have to reverse gradation to do the reverse gradation. Let me show you the picture I have here that I just took an hour ago. This is the image. The early Magnolia has more buds than flowers. Only one blooming on this branch. That's much easier to paint. When you have a full bloom tree, you don't know which one to paint, right? So naturally, here you have a focus of the flowers. So I will just do, because we don't have much room on this piece. I just do something easy. I just add another smaller bud. Maybe just I'll do the branch later. So you see the tone contrast. So the local color is darker than the bud color is darker than the full bloom flower. So you need to vary the tone. Sometimes it has to do with light, but in Chinese mostly we just paint the local colors. Now let me see this one. We can change the gradation, the composition a little bit. Maybe I try to keep it simple because this is not supposed to be a very very elaborated painting. I just try to test the paper, to show you the paper. So let's just put a bud here, and let me do a half bloom, or maybe this side. Let's leave it until later to decide. So we basically, when we paint two flowers, we do it like one big, one small. You don't want to make two flowers in the same stage of blooming or the same size. Okay. So this is the first painting. Let me finish this. So next I'm going to add calyx and branches. I will use a stiff hair brush. It's a basic stiff hair brush or wolf hair brush. You can use a bamboo and orchid brush or any stiffer brush like a bear hair or badger. These are all good for branches. The softer the brush is, the more expressive or more skill is required. So you need to practice. It's more like calligraphy to paint the branches. Although these are also calligraphic, you cannot go back to change anything, because on rice paper you can see the water mark between the strokes. Keep all the strokes separate. So 100 years from now, people can still read the mistakes. If you try to fix, you would leave marks on this. So try to do it in one shot. Okay, I'm going to paint the branches. On the small paper, you don't have to do the long, the major one. Just do the fuzzy ones, I call it, the little branches. So let's do a calyx. Just, paint like 3 or 4 crossing strokes and 1 stem for the branch. And you see I use drier ink to contrast with the wet petals. The bud, the calyx has like a shear kind of. So it's a little bigger. It's not open like that. And then I will add. See, I have beginning and ending. Go, with the different section, not just slowly, drag the line out the hand. You have to do it in a movement like that. Okay, here is the very important thing. Where the branches start, you can start from the 8 positions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The number doesn't matter, but you just avoid the corners and the middle. You can start from anywhere. Just don't start from right in the middle or right on the corner. Yeah. Okay. And I can add a little more, little, but the Magnolia branches is a very fuzzy kind of, lots of little things. You need to indicate that. So not like the plum. This is the main branch. We can do a secondary supporting branch. Let's use the same brush. Let me wash out little ink in the front again. So just use some water, I think. You don't have to use ink in this. We will try to make it more blurry. I will add a half bloom maybe, just like a big bud could be. Parallel. Make a cross. Some dense and sparse give it a rhythm. You can use dots to adjust that. Instead of adding more branch, you can also add this kind of. There could be something like a dead leaves or withered flowers or whatever. So they usually don't have green leaves, but in this case, we do see that. We don't really paint them because it's early. Spring or it's still in winter. I think we just paint the flowers. Okay, and that's it. Let me show you we don't really do the center is impressionistic. The stamen you don't really see from a side view. Okay. This one is on triple Xuan, and you have to do slower. I think I can use the same brush. You can use. Let's add a few more flowers. Let's see. Let me find the inspiration here. Oh yeah, I like this one. It's like a half petals are already falling, so we have only 2 petals. That's nice. But I can make that into a petal, maybe. Just make it easier. So I kind of take advantage of the shape of the brush. You have to know your brush like your finger, your hand, the extension of your body. So you kind of grow with have a feel like how the flower grows. You can add a little bit dark tone, wet into wet to the shady area. I think that's okay. So it's not really, if you know it, you can still make up something, without destroy the one stroke requirement, rule. Any rule can be broken, but learn the rule first. One stroke is the rule, but you can try to fix something within that one stroke requirement or rule. Go with the situation. So as I mentioned, you have a starting point. So you don't start from everywhere. You just start from one, and you can make it very complicated, like a hanging branch from top. So position 7, and goes outside. You come in and it goes behind this flower, and then kind of continue. Try to make it different than the first one. So you can see that when I can start the same position of the flower, but you can end with very different composition if you later, Okay, let's see the weight. It has to do with. So I have to add another one to balance it. On top, maybe. I don't have a shot of a hanging branch, but let me just make up one. try to play odd numbers like 3 or 5 and vary the distance so they don't look like 1, 2, 3 in a row. You have to make some part dense, some part sparse. You see, I try to show the effect of the size. So, just for experiment, let me just paint some background color. Let's say if we can wash with some blue. I don't think blue will work. Maybe just some, some atmospheric wash. I have to wait till it dry, I think. Let me see if this one dries faster. Still damp. I think this one is okay. I'll just leave it because you can still see the edge. If the edge is disappearing, we can contrast it out with a background. But normally we don't paint the background in Chinese painting. You can wash it with a tan color, just make it like an antique, or you can use gray. Let me try to wash with maybe a blue sky or something. But in that case, I will do the flowers with purple. Okay, I got a visitor coming, so I'm going to stop right now, and I will continue after it dries. If you have a request to see how the resist works, we can do some different approach, like a color. Thank you for watching. I will be alive later. Thank you.